Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Patreon All Access members. Well, we're going to take a closer look at the inside of this machine here, as only you people get to see. And, of course, we have this. This is your classic. We've had a fairly decent look at this, but here again, I'm not sure what they're mixing with the toxic resin, but it's just, this is aluminum, or appears to be aluminum metal filings in this. And what else is in there, we just don't know, because Orgonite, which was laid out as a basic formula by Wells, what goes in these things, most likely is not what he was using. And I'm not sure what this does either. But the problem is that you can feel the energy in these things, interestingly enough, in their own little way. The problem is that because Orgonite and Orgone, as it's been bastardized, as we know today, puts out a strong energy field. The problem is it's a negative energy field, spinning counterclockwise like rat poisons, all toxins, radiation, etc. But it does very strongly. So oddly enough, these mixtures do have energy. The problem is it's very negative energy. Now, this one, apparently they put in it a dye to give it a purplish look, or there's something in there. But we don't see any kind of stones or crystals or anything else in here. Now, getting back to the unit here again, you've got your one plate, which basically you put your photograph on, and then you're dialing in here basically the intensity. Let's see here. Yeah, well, this dial is screwed up because it doesn't even zero out properly. So this should, but I guess you could say that's zero. Or do you say that? Here would be zero. Zero would be, okay, there we go. I had it held wrong. So you have zeroed out here, and he did put a registration mark. Again, shows you some caring. We do have these very ugly things, but I believe there's wires connected to those. So there's a reason to have this going through the plate because you're transferring energy that way. Again, that all makes sense. And, of course, you have the 0 to 10 or the intensity. So what you're doing is how much of the energy that you have condensed are you sending it to you? Now, again, what energy are you condensing? Accumulated energy or orgone energy, which you already know, this big part which was in there is very negative energy. So it's really bad energy. So you dial it in here of how much energy you want to send to yourself. Now, that's that energy, again, is supposed to be used by you for some particular purpose. You could say that this is a type of prana or chi that you're charging your body up for, something else that we use. You wouldn't be putting a purpose here to manifest as far as I can see. But on second thought, well, maybe you could. Maybe you could put, I want money on here and then tune in the intensity to send this. But you got to remember that Orgone is not a money energy. It's a general empowerment. So none of that makes sense and none of it really works very well. Now, what we did here, if we noticed here, you'll see that there is this tube going through here. This is just a standard copper tube. And I have pried this off here. Let me take the, it's just a copper tube. And guess what's in there? There you go. Empty. There's nothing in there. So there's no orgone in there. I'm not sure why this person did that. They were trying to create a coil effect by using electrical wire that's coated, which means plastic wire means that you are not, it's insulated. So it means that you're not getting any energy that way. So you can wrap as much coil as you want around something, but it's insulated, so you're not really getting any kind of electromagnetic flow. So you're just creating whatever that is. I don't know if they're trying to create some sort of magnetic flow there, but there's no electricity going to this. The other thing, of course, is they've got connected to the actual tube here. They've got this quartz crystal, which, again, they've wrapped around with insulated wire. And it's just a crystal point of pretty low quality, as we can see here. And it is, what is it? Single, or is that double terminated? Let's take that off here. I guess you could say that's double terminated, but I'm not sure. There's no such thing as double terminated. It's just when they break it off, it kind of looks like a point. But technically, there is no such thing. So you've got an empty tube here with a wire wrapped around it. You've got a a potentiometer here. It's hard to say what value that is. Can I see it anywhere? Can't really see what the value of that potentiometer are, but it really doesn't overly matter. But the one very unique thing in here is that this has another kind of tube, or actually it's an actual, see if I can pry that up there. Again, we're not trying to save this. I'd never use an instrument like this because it's just full of toxic energy. But it is an interesting little design here. Oops, I don't want to, particularly, God knows what's in there. We don't want it to leak, but it is leaking already, it looks like. But he's got some sort of bottle here. I don't know if you can see that. Wrapped with wire, and there's liquid in it. And of course, since that liquid's been sitting in very toxic energy, it's extremely toxic liquid. And I'm not going to be able to pull this out of here safely. I'm going to dump this out, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now getting back to this, I did dump this out. And it definitely is a water. I felt it to make sure there wasn't some sort of oil or other thing that goes in there. But it's just a, it's just a tube with a stopper on it that definitely is, has water in it. And it is sending energy there. That energy seems to come from the tube here going into there. Again, I'm assuming this is some sort of orgone accumulation energy. Supposed to be prana or chi, but it's not. Prana and chi do not spin counterclockwise, meaning negative energy. But that's all part of the satanic plot of Karl Hans Wells, the horrible Satanist that this guy was, who's been allegedly connected to all sorts of criminal activity and really heinous acts that these Satanists do. So the whole idea is that we all need to be fully aware of that and the plague and the bastardization of what orgone is and how it works from the original discoverer Wilhelm Reich, who had a very interesting and well-researched, unlike the trash that is put out by the Satanist Karl Hans Wells and his group of people, who also I have personally been able to link to, as it's been alleged, to criminal acts and street gangs. So you've got that copper pipe, and remember that copper pipe has nothing in it. There's always been some thought in alternative energy that copper pipes tend to condense cosmic energies to a degree. Well, they do kind of, but you really need to put a crystal in there or something. So there isn't too much thought in here. You did put a crystal into the unit. He's got this very interesting bottle with water in it that he's also. But one of the problems is when you use coated wires, you've got an insulation there. So you always want to use uncoated wires if you're going to transfer something in general, especially if you're going in the electromagnetic spectrum. The reason you coat wires, just like the wire on your TV, your refrigerator, your toaster, has a plastic coating on it, because when you plug it in, it's insulated, so you don't get an electrical shock. So the whole idea is that means you're keeping the energy in there. But there is no source of this energy, so to keep the energy spiraling around there doesn't make much sense either. But, you know, these people don't know anything about real science. We got to understand that. They know nothing even about really basics of science. And I'm sure they would fight for it. I'm not a person who believes much in, quote, regular science, because they get everything wrong. So when we look at this, so you've got your basic potentiometer. You got a plate on top here, and the plate is connected. You can see that down there at the bottom. You can see it on film. Should be able to see that now. You see it right there. This does go up to the actual bolt over here, which is soldered, creating a semi-electrical connection. The same thing over here. So the energy is flowing in there. At least there's some logical sense to that. So whether you're sending electromagnetic energies or basically radionic energies, you still want some sort of wire connection to direct the energy to wherever you want it to go. Okay? So there is a certain wiring that goes in there. Now, what's electromagnetic or not is another story. Here we go again. You can see the tube is completely empty. And this has been put wire around it. We also have wire around this actual, let's pry that up a little bit and look at it. It's hard to tell. It looks like that's a typical plastic bottle there. And it is receiving energy from this tube, which is charging the water in here. And then the water, there's another one is going, or it's even coming from the plate. The problem is that, you know, when you do stuff like this, it's a confusion of energy. Where's the energy going? When you only have one plate, that's going to whoever's on there. So is that a receiving and sending plate all at the same time? It gets very confused. And, you know, nobody is trained properly. There are no schools except my own that teach people how to build these instruments. And we are changing that radically ourselves as we have discovered the secret to all this stuff. But there are no schools that teach you how to do this. There really aren't even any schools that teach you the philosophy of radionics. The few organizations out there have basically gotten it wrong. They teach something that is based in 60, 70 years ago that really has no value whatsoever in modern times. So the whole idea is that you can't find a decent course except my own, which will be released here soon. And of course, we've had for many years our radionic teaching, or what we call occult engineering, which talks about the energy flow of things and how it all works. Nobody else does that. So what they're doing is getting old drawings, old schematics that they find in different books and trying to figure that out. Well, is that right? Do they know the basics of radionics? Do they know what kind of energy this is? Well, of course not. And they don't have any interest in seeking it. They just want to build shit. And then, of course, take concepts from a raving, lunatic, evil person who came up with Orgonite and use that kind of ridiculousness because of his fake popularity that was really financed by the dregs of society, Satanists, criminals, and all the people that finance the entire Orgone industry and who are connected to it today. The whole industry, particularly down in the South, where many people are located, is all satanically controlled and so forth. It's really sad that it's come to that. And of course, the fruit that was born from this, the bred and seeded and watered by evil, produced a filthy, disgusting, and death-creating energy, as the inventor found out. So all those are the reality of what's going on out there. And certainly that technology can't do anything but make you sick and dead. This energy is very negative, and the people who've used any orgone, and here's a prime example of something that is made by somebody else. I believe this came out of England. That is nothing more than deadly, toxic crap. And if you have any orgone instrument, you should get rid of it. And if you want to save a few bucks, well, you're a fool. You should make sure you take a sledgehammer to it, smash it, break it, and throw it in the trash as quick as you can, plain and simple. This is going to make you sick and disturbed and evil. As innate as it may look at, it produces horrible energy. So let's also look at the fact, and let's see about the unit itself again. Let's hold over here. Was this water toxic, neutral, or positive? And of course, it spins negative right away. And the whole unit spins negative. And you can see the fact of that it's a strong negative. And there's not even any direct orgone in here. It's just that the orgone that was in here, that was in the unit, has filthified this, toxified it, and that's what you're taking into your life. So, you know, it's buyer beware out there, people. Don't assume that anybody is doing anything for any higher value other than making money, or they're not delusional, stupid, or even dangerous. We've seen this with pretty much any institution that's out there. The people running it are the worst scum on the planet. The military, the medical institution. Everybody that's in there are all people that are delusional, working for their own profit only. And they will play the system so that they can get their paycheck at the end of the day and nothing more. They have no morality, no sense of what's right whatsoever. They only have one thing in matter, and that's sex and money. And that's it. And they care about only their little reality, and they have enough money to play the game at the expense of everybody else. And they're more than happy to kill, murder you and anybody else so that their little life still works fine. So you got to understand that. And this delusional person who put this together without doing any research are finding out Wells never hid the fact very deeply that he had a satanic practitioner and had a whole big website with his phone number on it and him stating he was involved with this. When I started announcing he pulled this back minorly. Then, just a few years ago, E.A. Kennedy, the most popular and successful Satanist of all time, stated that Carl Hans Wells, and I have videos of this is listed on the YouTube site here, or if you need further help, let me know and I'll direct you to the actual link, that his mentor that taught him black magic and how to do everything else was Carl Hans Wells. Plain and simple, this Austrian piece of scum, evil person has been inflicting an entire industry now. Why? Because it's powerful. And you were deluded and lied to, and you continue to support these, just like the entire radiation industry is full of liars, cheats, and criminals. Every single one of them. I can't really find anybody that is in any way not a scumbucket, evil, rotten person in this industry other than myself. All of them are liars and scumbuckets and connected to organized crime, etc. So whether you want to believe that or not, that's totally up to you. Those are the facts, and I hate to always confuse people with the facts, but those are the facts. And hopefully you Patreon members and you All Access members understand this well. And don't think that ever will there be good people that are popular and super successful. This doesn't happen because this reality will stomp on you. They're your neighbors, your buddies, who everybody wants to think are the people that know more, are the people that keep those horrible, terrible, evil, satanic people in office and prospering. They work for them, and they're more than happy to destroy anybody who's doing anything good out there because they are getting paid to harass and suppress others. This goes through the history of time, and this is something that has been illustrated by any person out there or group who have been persecuted and massacred throughout the ages, from the Jews to others who are villainized by the population to be exterminated for the profit of the few. Hope everybody understands that. Here's just another horrible example of what's going on. And hopefully you'll learn from this and understand. And if you have any of this kind of stuff in your possession, you're welcome to take a photograph of it and send it to me, and I can check the energy coming from it just from the photograph. But in general, if you've got anything that is Orgone-based from anybody, it is a good idea to get rid of it. The intrinsicness of Orgone, which has been shown with this, which didn't come from Carl Wells, but this guy made this orgonite, is evil. Plain and simple. I'm taking this kind of junk that I've got from his machines and everything else, and that's going on my justice altar. So let's use this kind of negative crap energy for something good. Until next time.